Alright my peeps, time for another prediction game video, and this one is the World Heavyweight Championship match. You're going to see this Sunday at WrestleMania 29. It's going to be the champion Alberto Del Rio versus Jack Swagger. And yes, that is Jack Swagger, but it's a created character of Jack Swagger I got off Community Creations. What I like to do is I like to have my roster, in-game roster, as updated as possible. And the in-game character doesn't have the accurate hair, doesn't have the current hair that Jack Swagger has, so I decided to download one with the current hair instead of using the in-game Jack Swagger. Same thing with the WrestleMania Arena. Instead of using the WrestleMania 27 Arena, I downloaded the WrestleMania 28 Arena. I decided to download a WrestleMania 29 Arena off Community Creations, and I also added Ricardo Rodriguez in the corner of Del Rio, as well as a Zeb Coulter created character. By the way, this Zeb Coulter created character looks really good, really accurate. The first one I downloaded, really wasn't all that great. Actually, it wasn't that great. This one though, really good created character. When I downloaded the first one, this one wasn't on Community Creations, and now it is. So yeah. Anyways, enough talk about the video game or the created characters or whatever. And let's talk about the actual matchup and what's happening on TV between these two. So yeah, if you haven't watched WTV for a while and you're just getting back to it maybe, and you happen to stumble upon this video or something, Del Rio is now the world champion. Jack Swagger is actually the #1 contender. He became the #1 contender by winning the Elimination Chamber, by beating Randy Orton, Chris Jericho, Daniel Bryan, Kane, and Mark Henry. I actually thought Mark Henry would possibly win the Elimination Chamber. Jack Swagger actually won the Chamber. Well, actually, my initial prediction was Jack Swagger, so you could say I was right about that. But after that, I changed my mind to Mark Henry, which was a mistake since, Jack Swagger ended up winning. So I should have stuck with my initial prediction of Jack Swagger. And this title match, a couple months ago, I would have never thought not only that Jack Swagger would be challenging for the World Heavyweight Championship, but that Del Rio would be going into WrestleMania as the World Heavyweight Champion. Not only that, but going in as a face. I thought that Big Show would be going into WrestleMania 29 as the World Heavyweight Champion, or possibly even Sheamus, maybe even Randy, but I really didn't expect Del Rio to go into the biggest show of the year as the World Heavyweight Champion. I was fully expecting, Big Show was my pick to go in as the World Champion a couple months back when he won the World Heavyweight Championship off of Sheamus. Before that, I thought Sheamus was going to go into WrestleMania as a world champion. So when it comes to the World Heavyweight Championship picture, I definitely find it a lot more unpredictable than the WWE Championship title picture. WWE title match, I find it's very predictable. The match itself, that it's taking place at WrestleMania, I think, a majority of us, we're thinking, it's probably going to be John Cena versus The Rock one-on-one. But as far as the World Heavyweight Championship match, for a big period of time, it was like unknown. You didn't know what was going to happen, who was going to challenge you, who was going to be the champion, and what was going to be the matchup. And Jack Swagger came back in the Elimination Chamber, new gimmick. Now he has a manager, Zeb Coulter, and they're these real Americans, and pretty much they don't like it when people go into their country illegally and take their jobs and stuff like that. And right when that started, that whole the new gimmick started with Zeb Coulter as Jack Swagger's manager, at that time, that's when really a lot of people were actually seeing Jack Swagger as a possible contender for the World Heavyweight Championship, because that gimmick was like, that storyline was perfect for Del Rio, for them to face off against Del Rio, who's from Mexico and is the current World Heavyweight Champion, and they were going into a #1 contendership match to challenge for that championship. And that's pretty much the major reason why I picked Jack Swagger initially. But then I was like, maybe Mark Henry gets the victory, because he's been really dominating SmackDown and Raw since returning. But so yeah, Swagger won. and the match was official. And then Swagger got arrested, and a lot of us thought, oh, maybe they're going to replace Swagger now, since, you know, he got arrested. Maybe he's going to get suspended or something like that. But he actually didn't get suspended, and the match is still on, which was kind of surprising. But anyways, as far as, you know, my pick and why I'm going to pick, as Zeb Culture says it, Alberto Del Rio. You know, whenever Zeb Culture says Del Rio's name and Ricardo's name, he always emphasizes on the R. It's kind of like he's trying to say it in a way that, you know, it shows that I guess it's a non-American name or so something like that. But I like how Zeb Culture says both Del Rio and Ricardo's name. When he says Ricardo, for example, he's always like Ricardo Rodriguez. You know, it's like, I don't know how to explain it, but he says it in a certain way that I find it amusing. But back to the topic, there's about 3 reasons why I think Del Rio is going to retain the championship this Sunday. One of them being that for this storyline, for the majority of the storyline, practically every single week, almost every single week, Jack Swagger and Zeb Culture have had the advantage. They've taken out Del Rio numerous times, they've taken out Rick Rodriguez numerous times, breaking his ankle. Jack Swagger broke his ankle. And even when it looked like maybe Del Rio was going to get, you know, some form of redemption against Zeb Culture on Monday, Swagger and Culture still managed to walk away out of that match with the momentum. I mean, Jack Swagger once again attacked Ricardo's knee, which distracted Del Rio, and afterwards, both Swagger and Swagger and Zeb Culture started just, you know, attacking Del Rio with the crutches, like about, I don't know, they hit him about 20 or even more, 20, 30 times with the crutches. The storyline is like most storylines where it starts off normal, where, you know, the challenger wins a matchup to challenge for the championship. There's nothing personal between the two, but eventually the heel challenger does something, or, you know, to make it personal. In this case, Jack Swagger attacked Del Rio's best friend, Ricardo Rodriguez, went as far as breaking his ankle. And in most cases, when it comes to these types of storylines and feuds, the face usually gets the victory at the pay-per-view. Especially in this case, when it's WrestleMania. I've always, you know, believed that WrestleMania is like the pay-per-view where for the majority of the matches, the faces win. And I think this one is no exception. You know, Del Rio wants redemption. He wants some payback after what Jack Swagger did to him, after what Jack Swagger did to Ricardo. And WrestleMania seems like the perfect moment to do so. He could beat Jack Swagger, get some revenge, and the Del Rio fans will be happy that he would have taken out Swagger. And also, Del Rio just recently turned face. I mean, not recently, but, you know, just a few months ago, he turned face. And his 2 title defenses, he's only had title defenses against the Big Show, and that's it. Apart from the Big Show, he hasn't defended the title against anybody else. And now at WrestleMania, he's defending the title for the first time ever at the biggest show of the year. Well, you know, the first time ever at WrestleMania. And this is a big chance to give Del Rio a big victory as a face, as world champion, to solidify him as one of the top faces in the world title picture. And also, another reason is the whole Jack Swagger getting arrested thing, and not getting, you know, suspension or anything like that. Maybe they're waiting until after WrestleMania to, I guess, give him a punishment, if there is going to be a punishment. If there is, then I'd assume it'd be, you know, suspension. And so what they could do is have Jack Swagger lose, and then suspend them. Because who knows, maybe they didn't want to cancel the match because they already had Jack Swagger win the number contendership Elimination Chamber, and they thought, why not just do it after WrestleMania, after the title match. And also, Dolph Ziggler. You've always got to think about Dolph Ziggler, especially nowadays, you know, closing in on WrestleMania. The question is he going to cash it in at WrestleMania? And if he does cash it in at WrestleMania, it would make more sense for Dolph to cash it in on Del Rio rather than Jack Swagger. For one, Del Rio's a face, Dolph Ziggler's a heel. that makes more sense than Dolph Ziggler to cash in on another heel, Jack Swagger. Because if Jack Swagger were to win the championship off of Del Rio and then Dolph Ziggler would cash in and win it off Jack Swagger, then Jack Swagger would be entitled to a rematch. But actually thinking about it right now, Del Rio would also be entitled to a rematch because Jack Swagger beat him for the championship, so that could make for a triple threat match. So you know what, actually, that could actually take place. That could work in some way. But I still think that if Dolph cashes in, it's gonna be on Alberto Del Rio instead of Jack Swagger. I think a lot of people are gonna, be tuning into this matchup to see if Dolph Ziggler will be cashing in or not. I know I predicted Dolph Ziggler to cash in at WrestleMania when I made that video about when is Dolph Ziggler going to cash in his Money in the Bank briefcase. But at this moment, actually, I'm not sure if Dolph will cash in at WrestleMania or not. But since he's the show-off, it would make sense to cash in at the biggest show of the year. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, you can click that like button. I'd really appreciate it. With that said, I'm out, guys. See ya.